Hello everyone, we've got here, this is IGCSE and it's from 2018 and it's a paper 2 and it's the R, which is like the regional paper. So let's have a look at this IGCSE paper then. Here we go. So all the usual information you get given. Right, let's have a look. So it says in this question that x, 10 and y are 3 integers written in order of size starting with the smallest integer. Okay. The mean of x, 10 and y is 11 and the range of x, 10 and y is 7. Work out the values of x and y. Okay, so first of all, let's think about the mean. So in order to work out the mean, we're going to add them all up and divide by how many pieces of data there are. Okay, so we've got x, add 10, add y, and we divide it by 3. So that is going to equal 11 because we're told that the mean is 11. So from here we can times both sides by 3, giving us x add 10 add y is 33, which in turn gives us x add y is 23. Okay. Now what else are we told? We're told that to work out the range is 7. Okay. Now the range is the biggest number, take away the smallest. Notice it says that x, 10 and y are 3 integers written in order of size starting with the smallest first. So what that's telling us then is that the range is given by y take away x, okay? And that is equal to 7. So we've got another equation with 2 unknowns. So we've now got 2 equations with 2 unknowns and we can solve these 2 equations simultaneously. And the way that we're going to do that is by subbing one equation into the other. So I'm going to take this equation, y add x add 7, and sub it into x add y equals 23. So in other words, where there's a y here, it's getting replaced by x add 7. Okay, so that gives us x add 7 is equal to 23. Okay, and then therefore x add x is 2x. So we've got 2x add 7 is equal to 23. So we then subtract the 7 off both sides, giving us 2x is equal to 16, and then we divide by 2. So we find out that x is equal to 8. Now we know that x is equal to 8, we can sub that result into our pair of equations, x add y equals 23, in order to find out what y is. Okay, and when we sub that in, we find out that we get that 8 add y is 23, so therefore y is equal to 15. And that's the end of that first question. And you can see that I've got the mark scheme displayed there as well, so for your convenience. Okay, let's look at question 2. They kindly give us the fact that pressure is force over area. That's very nice of them. A box is put on a table, it says. The face of the box in contact with the table is in the shape of a rectangle that is 2 meters by 1.25 meters. Okay, so in other words, we've got some kind of a box, whatever it looks like, something like this. And there's a surface that's in contact with the table is this bit down here, which is 1.25 meters by 2 meters, like so. Okay, that's meant to be an n for meters. Okay, it says work out the force exerted by the box on the table. Okay, well, pressure is going to be force over area. So the first thing we need to do is work out what that area is. So that's going to be 2 times 1.25, which is 2.5 meters squared. And then pressure is force over area. So rearranging that to make force a subject, force is therefore equal to pressure times area. And the question already tells us that the pressure is 42 newtons per meter. So therefore the force is 42 times 2.5, which is 105 newtons. Okay. All right, that's that question. Right, let's look at the next one. Okay, 𝗏 makes candles. Let's see what's going on with 𝗏's candle making. Okay, so 𝗏 makes candles. She has 6.3 kilograms of wax and she uses it all to make candles. Fair enough. Each candle that 𝗏 makes uses 210 grams of wax. 𝗏 sells 2/5 of the candles for $13 each. She then reduces the price by 20% and sells the remainder of the candles. Work out the total amount of money that 𝗏 gets by selling all of the candles that she's made. So step 1 is let's work out how many candles that 𝗏 has actually made. Okay, so we've got 6.3 kilograms, which is 6,300 grams. We divide that by 210, which is the amount for each candle, and that gives us 30. So that means that Ben has made 30 candles. Now, 2/5 of the candles are sold for $13 each. 2/5 as a decimal is 0.4, and 0.4 times by 30 is 12. So there are 12 candles that Ben has sells for $13. So 12 times 13 is 156. So that's how much money Ben has made for selling the 2/5 of the candles. So the remaining candles, which is going to be 30 take away 12, which is 18, they're sold at a discount of 20%. So let's look at how much they're going to be sold for. If you're going to reduce something by 20%, that's the same as multiplying by 0.8. Okay, so we've got 18 times 13 times by 0.8. 18 candles, £13 is the full price, 0.8 is the reduced with a 20% off. And when we work that out, that comes to $187.2. Okay. Now, we add those two amounts together to get the total amount. And the total amount is $343.20. So that is our answer there, 330.20. Okay, perfect. Right, let's look at the next question. So that's questions 1, 2, and 3. Oh, a nice little bit of algebra now. That's good. Okay, so question 4. Expand and simplify. 3, open brackets, c minus 7, add 2, open brackets, c, add 4. So we're going to do 3 times c and 3 times 7, which is 3c and minus 21, or 3 times minus 7, should I say. Then we're going to do 2 times 3c and 2 times 4. 2 times 3c is going to be 6c, and 2 times 4 is going to be 8. We then collect like terms. So we have 3c add 6c is 9c. And then we've got minus 21 add 8 is minus 13. So that goes to 9c minus 13 is our answer for question 4a. Expand this double bracket. I mean, there's lots of ways you can do it. You can either use FOIL. You could say that one times that one, and then that one times that one, and that one times that one, and that one times that one. Or you could use a grid, which is another alternative way to do it. I quite like the grid, actually. So x minus 2 times x add 7. X times x is x squared. Minus 2 times x is minus 2x. 7 times x is 7x. And minus 2 times 7 is minus 14. Then we collect like terms. X squared there. Plus 7x minus 2x. That's good. We've got those two. And then minus 14 there. Now collecting like terms. Plus 7 take away 2 is 5. So it simplifies to x squared plus 5x minus 14. Okay, and that is fine. It's perfectly fine to leave that. That is our answer there. Right, part C, factorise fully. Okay, 28y squared minus 21y. Now, in order to factorise this fully, we need to look and see what's the highest common factor, the highest thing that can come out of both brackets. Okay. Now we can take out both of these. 21 and 28 are both in the 7 times table, so a 7 can come out. And notice we've got a y squared there and a y there, which means a y can also come out. So outside the bracket, we've got 7y, open bracket, 4y minus 3 is what's left behind, and that's it factorised. So if, as we're taking out 7y, you can just imagine that you either say to yourself, what do I get when I divide 28y squared by 7y, and you would get 4y. And what do I get when I divide minus 21y by 7y? The answer is you would get minus 3. Okay, so that's that one factorised. Okay, last bit of this algebra question. Solve 7x minus 2 over 4 is equal to 3x add 1. Show you're working clearly. Okay, so we've got and we've got this. Let's try and make x the subject, okay, or try and get everything in terms of x on one side. So I would say let's start over here because we've got a divided by 4, and the opposite of dividing by 4 is timesing by 4. So I'm going to multiply both sides of this equation by 4 now. Okay, so that's going to give me 3x times 4 is going to be 12x, and this is what students forget. You've got to do that 4 times by the 1 as well. So 3x times 4 and 1 times 4 gives me 12x add 4. Okay. So then we've times everything by the 4 that was divided by. Now we've got to get everything over to one side. So let's subtract this 7x, okay, off both sides, giving us 5x. And then finally, let's take that 4 across to the other side as well. So we're going to take that 4 across to the other side as well. And then we're going to then finally divide by 5. Okay, so that gives us minus 6 divided by 5 is our x. And that is that question done. Right, let's have a look at another couple. What have we got here? Okay, so we've got 𝗵𝗿 flew by plane from Dubai to Rome. Okay, the flight time was 6 hours and 42 minutes to fly from Dubai to Rome. The average speed of the plane was 650 kilometers per hour. Okay, work out the distance that the plane flew. So we know that speed is distance divided by time. Okay, so therefore distance is equal to speed times by time, just rearranging that formula. So the distance is the speed, 650 kilometers per hour, times by the time. Now notice, this time is in hours. So we've got that it's 6 hours and 42 minutes. Now that means that we need to convert 42 minutes into hours. And the way that we do that is by dividing by 60. So 42 divided by 60 is 0.7. Okay. So therefore we find out that we've got 6 hours 42 minutes is the same as 6.7 hours. That's really important. So therefore the distance covered is the speed times the time, 650 times by 6.7, which gives us 4355 kilometers. And that's our answer to question 5. So a little bit tricky there. Okay, question 6. Haran is investing 200,000 rupees in an account for 3 years at 1.5% interest per year compound interest. Work out the total amount of money in the account at the end of 3 years. Well, the total amount of money in the account at the end of 3 years. So let's consider that. So Haran starts off with 20,000 rupees and the interest rate is 1.5. So the multiplier is 1.015. That's how you increase something by 1.5%. You times by 1.015. Okay. And it's 3 years, so it's to the power of 3. So therefore, the amount of money that Haran has in the account at the end of the 3 years is 20,914 rupees. And that's the answer to that question. If you're finding these videos helpful, if you could remember to subscribe to the channel, like and subscribe, that helps me to keep on producing content that you're going to find useful. But I hope you found that video helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.